time. That's crazy. That's crazy. I've been playing a drum pattern this whole time. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. My bad, y'all. My bad. But we're not starting soon anymore. We might as well get it started. Come on, low clap, Oh, sorry. Messed up over here. Cause this is what we doing. All right, so I don't have a working camera, which is the issue. All right, so bear with me, y'all. If I had a good camera, I would have worked it. But I don't. But this is the manuscript, so welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just having conversations here. I know if you tuned in, tapped in from before, you know what we're about, you know what we do. Again, this ALBY BEATZ, and yeah, man, there's just a lot going on, man. Just a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, and obviously it's becoming redundant now to say that every so often. It is becoming redundant. But that's what we're here for, and that's why the 80th does we do right here with the manuscript is just try to continue bringing up important topics and themes to discuss as we continue to move forward, because it is important that things are put into perspective and things are analyzed and continuously processed, because there is so much information to go through. And so, with this stuff, we just try to do our part in owning in on those conversations um, that that are happening in our society, owning in on those themes that need to be continuously looked at, right? And again, just making sure we're providing a proper analysis um, that is inclusive of you know of oppressed peoples, and when thinking about men specifically, all types of men on the spectrum, not just one type of man. But anyway, I don't want to ramble too much. Just want to try to jump into it. And how we usually do is let's get into a quick feeling check-in, right? I think I should probably get into that and do some feelings check-in. Let's see where we at. All right. Ooh, how am I feeling? Let's go with a little bit of stress. So purple over here. I'm right here somewhere in the purple side, man. That sucks, but I would say stressed. I'm concerned. Um, Embarrassed. Um, Embarrassed is not on here. But that's what I'm feeling. Frustration. Yeah, I'm all feeling all the negative, heavy words today. So, how are you feeling? Look at this chart. Look at the colors. Doesn't matter how it looks, man. Um, may look childish. Doesn't matter. We need colors in our life, man. Everything is so damn dark. Just look at it for a second and really now ask yourself, how do you feel? And pick a word or two, man. Don't be, don't be too stuck, right? Don't say I'm good and leave it there. I know you feel more than one thing. All right. So now that you've thought about how you felt and you hopefully picked two words, man, this is very important. Try to get back to it. So how do I? Let me see. I'm trying to figure out where to begin first, right? Because now That's the thing that I'm kind of struggling with. There's many conversations I could start off with today. Um, but for the sake of this, I need to figure out a better picture or the camera situation. Because, like I'm saying, I feel bad with the camera situation. Let me see if this one works. Is it this? No, it's not this one. Is it this one? Yeah, none of the cameras are working, actually. This is kind of tough. And what I didn't consider is how do I apply a cool, um, like, I don't know, what's the name of it? Like graphic in the background so you could stare at it or something. But yeah, so what's been sort of bugging me, is this manosphere, man. Yeah, that's right, the manosphere again. Yep, making another appearance, and just themed that I'm connected to. So this week, one of the things that stood out was this documentary that I was getting through. I know it's another one, but apparently is a hot topic now to discuss the manosphere. So how can I? Let me see if I can. Is it screen share here? No, this is a bad screen share. I might as well screen share off of this since I'm already flowing. But check this out. So this is the screen right here. So the documentary is called, what is it called? Um, Give me 1 second. I'm struggling right now with this because when it comes to the Mac, I know how to navigate this a little easier. But this right here is just killing me softly. So I'm going with this documentary, right? So it's called, I don't even know what did they call this? They didn't call it anything, but the title, the title is just My Brother Copied Everything from Andrew Tate. Oh, it's called The Manosphere Messiahs. Sorry, how did I miss that? So this is from the BBC iNews or World Service, which is a British public broadcast service. So it doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, I was gonna make a joke, but other, pornography messed up our minds, man. Because I know other people see BBC and they think something else. But anyway, so it goes into this documentary according to the descriptions here, which I don't know. I'm sure you could follow along now. I'm reading through it. The BBC I goes inside the global manosphere, meeting the influencers cashing in and their devoted followers, exploring the booming industry where social media algorithms are fueling a growing gender divide. Investigative reporter Jackie Wakefield travels from Kenya to Mexico to meet a new generation of masculinity influencers building massive online audiences, making serious money in the process. Inspired by figures in the West like Andrew Tate, creators like El Tamash and Andrew Kibb promote self-improvement, discipline, and male empowerment in quotations to millions of young followers through viral videos, live streams, merchandise, and sold-out live events. But critics say the movement is fueling misogyny and hostility towards women. Jackie meets devoted fans who say the manosphere changed their lives and the women paying the price offline. So, is just another one of those documentaries. We were definitely we had the, what was his name, the one in Netflix, Inside the Manosphere, which we discussed here at the Manuscript. When was it? We did this. We talked about this a couple episodes, live streams ago. Whenever the Manuscript, whenever the documentary came out, I know we discussed it and watched it. Um, and then talked about it, broke it down. Well, broke down our scenes and what really bothered us. And yeah, there's no trailer to this one, so I'm not gonna play it. But it was just fascinating, man. Like, I mean, I think I should probably pay. What was the part that was crushing me? Um, I think this is. Let me just play a little clip right here. This is the part that was really like interesting to me. And they have a journey of a dude and all that. This is an interesting documentary, but let's take a listen.
Match is the biggest manosphere creator in Latin America.
Give me Ultimash, which I've never heard of, dude. So it shows how tapped in and not tapped in I am. So yeah, that's a problem. But there it goes. There, can I do it now? Let's see.
Enfócate tú en tu camino, enfócate en ser mejor en lo que haces y enfócate en enamorarte de lo que haces. Y vas a ver cómo gradualmente te enamoras de ti mismo.
A philosophy he calls war mode.
El modo guerra es un estado donde usted es altamente productivo, donde usted está enfocado, donde usted le dice a su cuerpo y a su mente, ahora necesito la mejor versión de mí mismo.
I've come to see his show in Las Vegas, the second stop on his world tour.
Lo que me gusta de él, te inspira a salir adelante, a hacer ejercicio, a motivarte a ti mismo, a leer.
Nos está ayudando a muchos hombres que hemos pasado por situaciones en las cuales nos hemos visto hasta caer en depresión o inclusive hasta en tratar de atentar con nuestra propia vida, cosas así, ¿me entiendes?
Esta es una de las cadenas que nos representa. Esto quiere decir sacrificio, compromiso, voluntad, todas las cosas que conllevan a un hombre ser un hombre. Masculinidad, fortaleza, discreción, compasión, hermandad, todo eso quiere decir esta cadena. Esto no es algo que se gana de la noche a la mañana, esto se gana.
Or you can buy the chain for $30 on Ultimatch's website. Most people...
That was good. That was good. I don't know if y'all caught that perfect, little timing there. I don't know if y'all happened to catch that, but that was good timing by the journalist. She said this dude went on a whole explanation of how meaningful that chain is, and like you listen to him talk. Listen, when I was listening to him talk the first time, I was like, wow, that's some really dope values, like everything he was really spitting. And then she goes, oh, you could buy it for he's like, this is earned, this is bought with, this is you earned this through tears, blood, sweat, and tears. And she's like, oh, you could just buy it for $30.
Paid at least $90 for the show.
Bienvenidos a lunes de modo guerra. Que nadie fue con las cariñosas ayer. Los que fueron a las cariñosas, órale, 10 lagartijas, cabrones, allá abajo. Y todos los que las quieran hacer con nosotros, vamos a darle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ultimatch had invited us to his show a couple of months earlier.
A huevo, cabrón.
But days before we were due to fly out, he went live.
Hace unos días yo les comenté.
All right, so you got the picture. Well, actually, let me fast forward a bit to my most part, because then he gets tight when he finds out that the BBC is doing I guess let me play his response to it. Fuck it, why not? Just keep it going.
Para hacer un documental.
We were due to fly out. He went live.
Dignidad y de soledad. Para hacer un documental. Quieren hacer un documental sobre los peligros de la machósfera, sobre la crisis de masculinidad y de soledad en los hombres. Todo con una perspectiva muy de género, muy woke, muy aliade. Oh, sorpresa que cuando hablé con la periodista encargada, me di cuenta de sus intenciones y los mandé a la BBC y señorita Jackie de la BBC. Nosotros no tenemos que pedirles permiso para ser hombres. Es su madre la BBC. Y ahora sí, mi compa, vamos a entrar al tema. Yo les digo, la vagina hipnotiza, cabrones.
We decided to come anyway. With no invitation, we had to film the show on our phones.
La vagina hipnotiza. Muchas morras dicen, los hombres también sí la hipnotizan. Pero no hay tantas, los hombres hemos hecho tantas estupideces por la vagina que las mujeres no hacen tantas estupideces por la... No hay manera, no hay manera.
I don't know what he was trying to do with that. I don't know what he was trying to do with that. I don't know if the caption, you could read the caption, but he made a joke about how well, he said vagina hypnotizes and pussy hypnotizes, and that women say, you could be hypnotized by dick too, excuse my language, whatever, but that he says, well, that's bullshit because you ain't never seen, basically saying men do crazier shit for pussy than women do to get some penis. I'm just like, what is he saying, dogs? He's saying stuff that like is stereotypes for men I've been hearing. I'm 36, man. I'm about to be 37. That's shit that I heard about men in high school. You understand? Like that men have no control, that men always rabid dogs when it comes to pussy, and that men cannot control themselves, and oh my god, they just become a whole different person when it's like some pussy. And do you understand, which is what I've been saying for years now, is like, do you understand how dumb that logic is to even say that of men? Like, what is that saying about us? And some men wear that proudly because it gets used as an excuse for their lack of control and lack of decision making. Even him, he's supposed to be all about men empowerment. His whole stick is about empowering men. So how are you going to go up there and say some not empowering shit? But that's because he's speaking in a contradictory tone. Talking about BBC, we don't need permission to be men. That never, like, saying that statement is implying that, like, this freaking publication that's a public broadcast has the power to even dictate what men are and what men do. They're not the ones that are dictating. I mean, they have a role in terms of them being media, sure, but they're not the ones that completely have a role in shifting how men act, how men be, and what men do. And on top of that, like, men are still being men. So what do we, that whole comeback and everything he tried to say is just, look, man. And I'm not, the part of me that I can admit gets a bit, I sort of feel, still conflicted about, but it's the fact, like, when I hear the fans talk, like, it's his fans, I hear them talking, and I'm just like, okay, my issue is like, I just feel for them because clearly it, I see that space, and there's a bunch of people just seeking belonging and seeking community, and they found it in a way that's sort of testosterone filled, but you don't even see it. But to me, that's vulnerable. Like, why would I want to get in front of a crowd and do some push-ups and admit that, like, he made a funny joke about, all the prostitutes is out tonight, right? If you went to go see a prostitute, you gotta do some push-ups, and he made it like a little joke, like, if you went to go see a prostitute, and because he did his show in Vegas or whatever, so he's like, if you went to go see a prostitute, let's do some like, what is that? Like, I don't understand what that is. Like, there's a lot of contradictions in that whole joke. One, he's clearly denigrating and making fun of women, which he probably went to go see a couple of them themselves, but then he gonna go ahead and talk about how women are this, that, and the third, but the first thing he went to go look for is a woman and pay for it. So what are you saying, dogs? So then he has them doing push-ups, and I see them, I see this example of them all doing they push-ups, and I'm like, that's actually dope, You got the guy up there saying how he got inspired to read, how he got inspired to exercise, I think that's an amazing thing, you know. What is it? Right message or right message, wrong messenger, or something like that. I don't know what the term is, but that's kind of what this makes me feel like. Because to me, yes, I think that's something that men should be sort of aspiring to be, is to feel motivated, to exercise, to do their push-ups, to read, right? To not just but not just read bullshit though. Like, really expand your mind. Like, read different materials, read from different people. Don't just read from other men. Read from women. Read from lesbians, read from gay men, read regardless of who wrote it, right? But don't just stick to one type of writer, which is often what we don't realize as men we do. All our lives, if we're not careful, we mostly stick to material and content that is just made and produced by men. And there's no way you can tell yourself you have an expanded mind when you haven't even approach the literature from people that are just other than men. There's no, you're not, the world is more expansive than just men. And like, I still feel like a man saying that, but I clearly know it doesn't just revolve around me, you know. And again, it is very important to expand your mind and not just consume stuff from men. So this whole documentary just, is another good side of exploring this idea of the manosphere. Um, it's I it was good for me to just explore it because I've never heard of these new characters, especially how they address like the men that are also in Africa, like in Kenya, and then they had another dude that I didn't see before, because the one in Netflix I think focused a lot on like, well, they did have that Australian dude, but they did focus on like um the guys making waves here in America, and so I like that they touched upon like the guys in the manosphere that's making waves outside of America, right? Through the same content. So yeah, if you're interested, I mean, check it out. I mean, look, some people might obviously like not agree, I think, but be open to it, man. If you're looking for something different, I said be open to this information. It's because what what I think men have to realize is that men have been again selling us things most of our lives, right? Again, if we really start to think about it, most of the content we got and consumed are from men. And look, like even I'm watching some of this stuff, and I'm not saying I don't like this stuff. I like that kind of content. Like, my social media is definitely filled with like calisthenic workouts. Guys that are doing calisthenics workout and stuff like that, muscle ups. Like I'm trying, like, you know what I mean? Like I like that. But if that's the only type of content I'm consuming, then I'm not giving myself a chance to expand my thinking. Or if I'm thinking that this is just the only way that I'm gonna be a man, then that's also not like a healthy way of thinking about exercise and life in general, right? So my issue with these dudes that actually proudly wear the term and say they make up the manosphere is that they're claiming to be about men expanding their minds and extending their own limitations, but all of it is limited thinking. All of it is limited thinking. And a lot of the content is really combative. Is about stereotyping someone else and then saying how someone else is this, that, and third, and then us men are this, that, right? It's very much like in comparison and saying to be a certain man you have to be a certain way, and like, no, I think what people are missing, which should be clear when you watch these documentaries, how much people are lacking community, and I'm talking real community. A lot of these guys, man, are lonely, and that's why they're gravitating towards these dudes, because that's all we know to recognize ourselves with, which is hyper masculine stuff: sports, working out, guns, cars, money. So we think that that's the stuff that's gonna fulfill us. So we can only listen to men that actually also push these same kinds of things. But again, it's far beyond that. We need more. We need to um we that is not going to serve us well. And again, as somebody that like, you know, someone that like, oh, that's what. Let me try to rephrase this. 'Cause I'm trying to make sure I make sense as I make this point, because I don't want to alienate nobody else. Again, I recognize that there's definitely things that other people and like women and whatever, like, we all got problems, right? Um, I don't think it serves us well to just, especially again when it comes to us as men, to focus on what others have gone through, are going through, and how they treat us, right? Like, the world isn't fair, period. But I'm not gonna go off and be like, oh, but women got this easy, or a woman could do that and it'll be easy. Like, I don't. The world is already is in a crazy imbalance. That's why we in this mess, you know, because of the crazy imbalances. You got people hating each other for stuff that we should not. We're hating. We're hating other people for what we feel we lack. And that's when I see again a lot of these fans and all these guys that fall into the manosphere. Like, look, man, you're just lacking. The answer's already in your own human instincts, right? And I do believe as humans, right, we're social animals, right? You know, it's all tied. Our mental, physical, our spiritual health is all tied together. And so we thrive and we grow and we develop with our interactions with one another, right? So we need each other. That's just, to me, a fact of life, you know? And so I do think trying to continue and to live a life that I believe is very limited or that's about domination, I think is going against our very human instinct because, sure, do people, are there people that probably learn that you can dominate? Yeah, absolutely, which is why I think we're in this mess. But I don't think, it's hard for me to believe that that's an instinctual thing. You know, I don't think humans were born and then like automatically we're thinking of how are we gonna get the best out of the other person, how we're gonna be better than someone else, man. I mean, it's like the kids in the sandbox theory. You know, you put a bunch of kids in the sandbox, they don't know what color is. They don't know. They won't really know that another kid is black or that another kid is white or that another kid is gay or that another kid is trans. They just know they kids and they play. You're just a person, and so how do we get from that place to them being adults that now we hate each other for everything, and that as men, you know, all of a sudden we're like, oh, if you're crying, you're a bitch. Or if you're not tall enough, you're not fast enough, you look weak. Or if you're skinny, oh, dude, you need to do some push ups. Like, right? Otherwise, you're like, you know, you're not some sort of man. Right? That's us. We did that as we got older, but we indoctrinate, we socialize. Right? Because again, I don't think that's in us. So these guys, man, it really bugs me when I see them, these dudes that are getting in the way. But you know, they know how to work the algorithm. They know how to use bots for likes, and they know how to spread their words. And it may not be hitting everybody, because again, shoot, I know the manosphere exists, but I didn't know these guys in this documentary existed until I caught this. So, um, but they're making an impact and large enough. I mean, that dude he was in Vegas, man. It's not easy to just book a show in Vegas. So the fact that he got one in Vegas, they said I think the tickets were $90 a pop, but if he sold shit 1,000 of them joints, like, you know, why not? He's not in bad shape. So, and he looked like he filled up the arena pretty well. So, and whatever he made on merch. So, you know, these are people that are willing to invest and go here and motivate. But it's very interesting how again it's not being used for what I think the world needs. The world needs community. The world needs us to come together, man. There's actually a so if you watch the documentary, there is a part where, you know, this stuff gets deadly. You know, this stuff does not get um like there's an example of a young woman there who talks about her boyfriend, who she broke up with, who he became such a big fan of the dude El Temash, and how he like, you know, during an argument, he like played his videos and like forced her to sit down and watch the videos. And if she didn't watch the videos, that meant he didn't understand her, and that she didn't understand him, and that she's the problem, and that, you know, and she's watching these videos, and of course the dude is like, a woman needs to be submissive, a woman, and so the boyfriend is all like, you see, I'm not the only one that's saying it. You're wrong, and like, so you see, I would never want somebody to use my content, you know, in such a way. I would hate that. I would hate myself if a dude during an argument with his girlfriend pulls out a manuscript video with my face on it, and I'm saying some shit that he's using to manipulate and win some sort of argument. Bro, if you have an argument with your lady and you got to pull out a video, you lost. You lost. Cuz we don't when you're having an argument, it's all about communication. Communicate your ideas, man. If you're disagreeing, which is why you're arguing, that's fine. But you don't need to pull out no videos and tell somebody to watch something in the middle of an argument just to prove some sort of point. You know, arguments can end in agree to disagree, right? You could just leave it at that. You agree your point, and then that's it. It doesn't have to all arguments don't have to land in like, so you see my point, I win, right? Because my point makes sense and yours doesn't. No. Now, some will go that way and some will not. So, yeah, stuff like that makes me uncomfortable when I see these things. And that's usually my red flag. Like if a dude is using your content to manipulate and abuse his girlfriend, then your content is not good. Your content is not good, and is actually hurtful and detrimental. Like I would love it if a dude uses my content and then he's like, nah, I heard what this guy had to say. I heard what Al had to say in a Manuscript podcast, and he said some shit that made me think, like, you know what? I shouldn't have said that to you, or I shouldn't have brought that up during an argument. That was wrong. I want my content to be used like that. Like, let me inspire you to just have better conversations with the people around you. Don't use my shit to then manipulate and twist it for your point so you can gain some sort of advantage. you know. So, but yeah, this is the one main thing that had bugged me all this time, man. That's why I wanted to definitely want to get on here and talk about this other documentary. Even though again, the manuscript is something we've been discussed, but I just thought, I mean, can't get enough of discussing it. I mean, the manuscript is here and it's here to stay. And what are we gonna do about it? But it's good to just challenge it. I mean, we had this. I had to take up the video. We had this guy right here, man. Just really, there's an interesting story about a guy who being 19 years old and being very influenced by these guys. But it is very bad, man. It's very bad. Like, we have to be very careful with who we're deciding to listen to, right? Because to me, look, I'm not no dating guru, but anytime anybody's ever asked me, or young men ask me about, like, how do you connect with a girl, like, how do you get a girl to like you, how do you talk to a girl, like, my first thing is to start asking them about themselves, because really when it comes to talking to anybody, you just need some sort of confidence, and to gain that confidence you need to know who you are, right? Somebody who tells me they struggle, a young man who tells me he struggles to just talk to a girl, I'm like, well, how are you talking to other people first? Are you able to order your own food at IHOP when you're sitting at IHOP? Do your mom still got to order for you or your dad? Can you call the Chinos, or can you call the Chinese store and then say make an order for delivery, drop it off at so-and-so apartment so-and-so? Can you do that? Right? No? Okay. If you have an issue because your Metro card not working or your Omni card not working, are you okay with going to the booth and having a whole conversation and try to figure things out? Or do you call your mom and tell your mom or your dad to come figure it out for you? Right. Like I approach conversations like that from there, because before you even try to get to a woman, and start dating, I mean, I think it's best to understand what skill sets do you have currently, because to make any relationship work and for it to be healthy, it requires trust, right? And trust is earned. So it requires, patience. It requires leading with integrity. It requires being able to hold yourself accountable. It requires maintaining boundaries. It requires you to just remember the little details in life, right? Because as they say, the small things are sometimes the big things. So to lead a healthy life, there's other healthy relationship. There's components that are available to us that we just need to tap into. And really is what we all want, right? Because even as men, I talk to men all the time. There's, men love it when, we love it when people, notice the little things, the small things in our lives and celebrate that. As men, we like when people are direct and clear with us and let us know what to expect. So they clarify expectations, right? As men, we love when people lead with integrity. So they are who they are, whether we're in front of their faces or not with us. They're genuine, right? And I know as men, we respect accountability, right? Especially, men, we expect this from other men. And the moment we don't get that is a problem. So we should expect that from everybody. And as such, we should also be giving that to everybody. So if you want to learn how to talk to a girl, there's a lot of things you got to work on yourself first. And it's not hard. I'm not saying a lot. It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. I mean, you have to work on the basics, but it starts with how are you communicating with those around you. And if you could communicate well with those around you, then you way ahead of the curve when it comes to talking to girls. It's gonna come easy, you know. And I know some guys, like, man, I see it, especially like I said, working with young men in high school, man. They just remind me so much about how men can be very competitive with themselves, dogs, and very insecure around each other. You know, you got young men that like would be so mad just because the other dude is taller than him, or just because he got longer hair, or just because he got all the latest Jordans, and then now he's mad at him. But then he takes out his anger out on girls and be like, "Oh, you just like the bad boy type, or you just like the drug dealers, or you just like this type of guy." Like, well, you complaining to a woman about when you are really insecure about what the next man has, right? But we don't like to look at it as an insecurity, which it is. It is a huge insecurity that I think other men build for each other, and then we go ahead and turn around and blame that on women. Or we're the ones making ourselves insecure. I mean, this guy, I'm gonna have to take his face off for a while because I'm tired of staring at him. But again, this guy along with others. I mean, to realize the contradiction of these men, they're talking about they're the ones that are doing. They're setting us up for failure with their competitive nature and their like need for competition. You know what I mean? To tell men, like, if you're not like this, you're weak. A weak man is this. A weak man is that. Like, if you're doing all that stuff, bro, you're making another man, you're not helping another dude with his insecurities. You know what I mean? How are you helping men? If you're reminding men how weak men are, then you're not helping with their insecurities. So that's not good. We don't need that. So if you ask me, I would reject any of that content. If it's not a dude that's talking about loving everybody, to that as a man you gotta love yourself, you gotta do this, you gotta be disciplined, and you gotta extend that to other people around you. If that's not his message, then I think you should throw it in the trash can. If the first thing he says is, as man, you gotta be disciplined, you gotta be strong, you gotta be hard, you gotta be a warrior, and forget what these little people want. They want you to be a little girl, and they want you to wear a skirt. The moment they start doing that, you be like, bro, like just tune out, bro, tune out. Because the first message is good, but don't start bringing up about what other people are supposedly trying to make you do. Because again, there ain't no conspiracy, man. They're not trying to feminize men. Are you kidding me? Like, that's been the thing I've been hearing about since I was in high school, right? Feminize men, please. I'm not trying to feminize men. Do it to ourselves, man. And who's they? Whenever you even think about who the they is a bunch of men. So men are trying to feminize other men, but we've been doing that since little, right? Because what happens when men show soft sides or they're vulnerable is you're crying like a bitch, you're being like a little girl. We feminize ourselves more than anybody, and you want to blame it on the gay flag, talking about gay people are trying to make you whatever. They're trying to make you into sissies, and they're trying to make you wear skirts, and then gay people are the ones that are trying to feminize men. When the first time I was called a little girl was by another dude. Like, come on now. Come on now. We got to be smarter than that, man. We got to catch the contradictions better than that, man. We can't let them slip up on us, man. Talking about the days, man. I would never send that message, man. Like, the real days, whatever you want to put your tinfoil hat on, they want to knock everybody down. They don't give a F. And whoever they are, probably have a whole lot of money that none of us can even imagine. And at the end of the day, it's all about the green. It's not about anything else. I don't care about anything else. So you're hearing these stories about all these secret islands and all that. And what's always happening in these secret islands, right? Everything they tell you not to do. Everything they tell you that you crazy for doing. You know how many politicians and men in powerful positions have been caught in drag? Or how many men in powerful positions have been caught soliciting sex from other men, but then they go to the congregation the next day or go to the press briefing and they want to talk about how gay people are sinning? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's too easy. But if you're not tapped in, for real, then you'll fall for it every single time. You'll fall for it. Listen, a lot of like the same way people take advantage of others by telling them what they want to hear. That's exactly what happens to men, I think, more than anybody. I think we're constantly being told what we want to hear. And then we're the ones that get manipulated the worst. We buy into all of it, and we're the worst ones because we buy into this shit. We're the ones also feeling some of its heaviest effects for buying into all the BS. Still, still. That's why, I tell you, he keeps me balanced. As a matter of fact, there goes right here. I'm gonna just play that video right here. Look at one of my favorite shows that came back. Sorry about this. This is probably looking all crazy. It's called Earn Your Liberation. So some people recognize the what is it? EYL, Earn Your Leisure, right? So this is Earn Your Liberation. So they're actually up to episode 91. So this is a show I watch. It's Dr. Jared Ball, Diallo, and then Geechee. So these are three dudes that, like, over the last 2 years, I would say, or roughly or more actually. I've been watching these guys since I think 2023 when I first got injured when I ruptured my Achilles, and then I was home all day and I was just looking for stuff, and then I found these guys. Well, found Jared first. Even though Jared's been doing this thing for a while. But these guys, man, you see them laughing, they're having a good time, bro. This to me is who I've been learning from over the last 3 years as brothers who have a good analysis. They've tackled all these things. They've tackled the manosphere. They've tackled the contradictions and a lot of the things we're being fed as a population. And at the end of it, these three men are all about, like, the liberation of all oppressed people, include all in their own way, right? I think their bottom line is, again, the dismantling of the current powers and all the propaganda and boosting up, like I said, all oppressed peoples. So this is what I watch, man. I'll give them a shout out any day, and not just them. Black Liberation Media, African World Order. I went to an open mic recently, and someone actually in the crowd gave a shout out to Black Liberation Media, and I was dumb hype because I was like, yes, you on them too? It was the first time I've been out in a while and somebody else gave him a shout out, and I was there. So, yeah, man. And what I also appreciate about these men is that they're involved in real world activism. They're not just like online. They developed an online presence, but they do a lot of work outside of just the digital space, um, which I appreciate. I appreciate a lot. And so this particular episode, actually, funny enough, I wanna highlight it because they do get into the issue with, not the issue, sorry. They do get into the topic of masculinity and black masculinity specifically, because I do think there's a difference between our masculine representation and then, I mean, let's be for real, not non black men. Uh there's a way in which it's expressed and the way we experience it. But they specifically tackle, you know, again in their more um intellectual way, I would say academic way. They 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 do a good job, man, of, like, again, like I said, addressing the contradictions, addressing some of the questions. They also provide feedback and stuff, talking about, like, again, the manosphere, um, which is good. And what I like about Diallo a lot. He's the one on the top left. What I do appreciate about him sometimes, even though sometimes he's so argumentative, is bad, man. I'm like, damn, how to. He's like that one dude that's like, yo, you always right, because you a smart ass. You know you right, so you don't shut up. Um, but he does bring a lot of history a lot of times into his analysis. So he's good at, like, remembering key events that happened, especially here in America, that he recalls, and he could tie it to what we're experiencing today, or tie that event to its impact on us. So yeah, man, check them out. Check them out. I do encourage folks to check them out for sure. I've been praising and promoting Black Liberation Media for a while now. and I will continue to do so. They drop some really good stuff all the time. But in terms of this specific conversation, I definitely wanted to highlight them for that because, yeah, man, these guys crushed it when they had that discussion. So check that out if you can. Let's see, where am I? 9:20. How am I feeling? Well, I'm camera short, so this kind of turned into more of a podcast than it did into a original streaming day. But I'm not gonna lie, aside from the camera not working here, I was worried about the camera that I do have because the camera that I do have, unfortunately, is not what's the word? It freezes a lot, so I'm a little yeah, I got a little worried about that. My camera freezing, and I just didn't want to go through that embarrassment because the last episode I did, even though it was cool, came out in the backyard, but yeah, unfortunately the just video quality sucked. Although the audio was good, which is why I decided to still continue with audio. But yeah, I gotta work the internet a bit better to figure some things out so that I could get back to video because I do want to show off some of my music equipment here that I use to play music in the beginning of the stream, and also because I want to run some streams over the summer. So I want to make sure that I get that set up well. So yeah, that was the discussion of today. That's the manosphere. Yeah, and that's, I mean, really, like I said, that's mostly what I wanted to highlight and talk about today, because uh, it still is a problem. It still is a problem, and that I think the battle for the end of this decade. I mean, we're already halfway through 2026, and so we're in the latter, the second half of the 2020s, and the first half was already a doozy, man. You know, from COVID to the rise of AI, um, to everything else, man, fentanyl, like you name it. So, we'll see how the later half of the 2020s continue to develop, but I for sure can see how the 2030s at this point is going to be a matter of like, I mean, a full push for the digital world. And if these people already got a head start on the digital world, then we're cooked. Or I don't want to say we're cooked. We're cooked if you're allowing yourself to get thrown on the grill, because you're only cooked if you allow them to cook you. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, if we're not careful, a lot of us will be, because propaganda is real, and we are humans at the end of the day, so we're all susceptible to be in many ways brainwashed and indoctrinated. So we can never sleep thinking that we got all the answers already, and that is not possible for us to be held hostage through our thoughts and through our beliefs. So we just got to be very careful with that. Whew. With that being said, we're gonna sign off, man. I'll play one last beat to sign off. It was good. Good rambling. Good discussion. For the manuscript. And we're out. So let me play this.